Today, we're going to explore the meta-program relationship sort. The relationship sort meta-program, or unconscious filter, tells us a little bit about how people make sense of the world, how they bring information in. The relationship sort is saying, what's the relationship between these things that I'm looking at? And people will either be looking at sameness or difference. Sameness, also called matching, they will be looking at two things and looking at how they're similar to each other. So if someone starts a new job, for example, and they're noticing the similarities, they might say, hey, we use the same program. We had these same types of clients. We had the same structure. I worked in the same building. I worked the same hours. It took about the same amount of time to get there. If we're looking at the differences, this is also known as mismatching. We're looking at those two things and going, what's different about them? These are different people that I'm working with. It's a different time zone of people that I'm working with, a different structure of pay scale, a different program that I'm using, a different service that I'm offering, and they'll notice those differences. It's when we're going into a situation and we're taking note of what's happening, is somebody noticing the sameness or the difference? If someone's noticing more of the sameness, in general, that might mean that they're more of an agreeable type of person. They might be the yes person, but they're looking and feel comfortable when there is similarity. So they might have a lot of the same types of things, including shoes and clothes and houses and partners. They might also appreciate similarity. They might go to the same restaurant and have the same type of food, or do the same type of job, or have the same manner of speaking and behaving in different situations. Like they're the same everywhere. Not a problem with that. This is contextual, by the way, not necessarily personality. The differences, when somebody is sorting for those differences, again, they're looking for mismatching. What's not the same? They may be the devil's advocate at times. They might be looking for the problems or looking for a solution, even when a problem doesn't exist. They might get benefit from the differences. They may say things like, oh, we went there last week. Let's not go there again. They're not looking for the sameness. They're saying, hey, we already did that. Let's do something different. Let's do something different. Even if they go to the same restaurant, they're like, I had that last time on what am I going to have this time? They're going to have and enjoy a variety of different things. And they want that variety. Too much of the sameness will probably bore them. This is also true in relationships, in jobs. Someone who has more propensity to filter for difference will change jobs more often. They might even change relationships or houses or how they live or their furniture or their clothes quite often because they seek for that difference. Where the sameness might have the same job or the same type of job, live in the same city or the same, 5-mile or 5-kilometer radius. They might like to do the same stuff because it's familiar, it's comfortable. The difference is comfortable and familiar because it's unfamiliar. The uncertainty really helps to boost where they're going and what they want to do. From a communication standpoint, this is important because if I know that somebody walks into a situation and makes meaning based on what is the same or what is different, I want to be able to point that out with them. So if I understand that going into a new project, for example, at work, if somebody is more sameness prone in that project, remember they might be difference prone in something else, a different context. But let's take a project. They're looking for the sameness. They're looking for those matching points. So I can preempt it by saying, what you'll notice is this project is quite similar to the one that we finished a couple of months ago. And it has this and this and this, which are going to be quite similar to it. If I also have somebody starting in that project and they're filtering more through the differences or the mismatch, same project, different person, I can say, hey, this is a project. It's different than the ones we've done before because this, and this are different. And we want to be able to have an outcome that isn't the same as where we're at now. And I want to preempt it by noticing and pointing out those things that are different. In any kind of conversation, if I know that somebody's more matching, I want to preempt it and tell them already what's matching and what's the same. I can even ask them questions. Hey, what's the similarities between this? Where do you find the parallels? Or what do you notice that's different here? Where can we make a change? By the way, if you really want to make a change to something, maybe there's a program or a system that you've got going, find somebody who can mismatch. Because that person who will mismatch will probably find some ways to tweak what you're doing and improve it somewhat. If you find somebody that does sameness, they're just going to do the same thing. Maybe they'll tweak a little bit to make it easier, but possibly not. If I'm hiring, I want to take a look at what is the job and what are those aspects in the job. And can somebody, if there's a lot of routineness in the job, I want to make sure that I'm hiring somebody that can easily do the sameness. If there's a lot of variety, I want to make sure I have somebody that can do that difference. Because the last thing I want from that recruitment standpoint is to put somebody who needs that difference and that mismatch into a very routine job. They're going to get bored out of their minds. I love this aspect of these filters because it helps me to understand other people, why they do what they do, and it gives me the opportunity to communicate better. For this one, be listening for people to show you and tell you about how they make sense of the world. Are they noticing what's the same, or are they automatically noticing what's different? Communicate, communicate, communicate.